So in the simple terms, we continue to launch and grow and scale brands across e-commerce channels, Amazon FBA, Shopify, TikTok. It just kind of demands wherever the brand goes. Demand capture on Amazon, demand awareness on TikTok shops. What we probably will get into today is the halo effect and why it's an omnichannel strategy is something everybody in 2024 needs to be doing. They should have been doing it 2 years ago. But it's not too late to get started. It started with us building our own brand, got our first 7 figures in 2014 on Amazon, and then been into omni-channels, we call our as seen on TV strategy, because the first product base I created actually came off a television ad. The outcome is there's some challenge in every business line. You just may have a better aptitude at the marketing, social media, and paid traffic angle, where others may have it more on the demand capture, SEO side of Amazon, and logistics and operational controls.
Welcome to our Afluencer Podcast. We've got an e-commerce expert on today who we're going to talk about a variety of things. We've got Neil Twa, who's got a bio about as long as anything. We'll have to drill it down, but Neil is an e-commerce expert, entrepreneur, investor, speaker, podcast, host himself. So we're looking to kind of pick Neil's brain today about what he's up to and then what's going on in the e-commerce world, especially with regards to selling to consumers, marketing, getting in front of people, which we all struggle with, I think, as AdWords and Google changes its algorithm and AdWords becomes more expensive and Facebook becomes expensive and all
Everything does, yeah.
Stuff and everything. So Neil, you know the drill. Welcome. And give us a little tease, Neil. What are you working on these days?
Yeah, so in the simple terms, we continue to launch and grow and scale brands across e-commerce channels, Amazon FBA, Shopify, TikTok. It just kind of demands wherever the brand goes. Demand capture on Amazon, demand awareness on TikTok shops. What we probably will get into today is the halo effect and why it's an omnichannel strategy is something everybody in 2024 needs to be doing. They should have been doing it 2 years ago. But it's not too late to get started, and that's probably some of the things we'll cover today because it's very important to round that out with costs, CPM going up, ads, issues with account closures, and just, the differences in simple terminology between demand capture and demand creation. Those would be something I think we can probably dig into today.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and actually I'd love to dig into that in a moment. First, if we could just kind of set the table, how do you specifically work with brands? Are you buying them outright, or are you investing in them, or are you consulting with them, or is it all the above? How does your current portfolio look, and what are the mechanics of that in terms of?
So all of the above. It started with us building our own brand, got our first 7 figures in 2014 on Amazon, and then been into omni-channels, we call our as seen on TV strategy, because the first product base I created actually came off a television ad. And so I started to create the demand capture growth aspect on Amazon first before it kind of became cliche. And then as the internet and social webs went out much larger and faster in the last 5, 7, 10 years, a lot of demand capture on the DTC side as well, but predominantly Amazon's kind of become a foundational component of spillover and effect. So we've sort of stayed predominant in that. So we invest, we grow, we consult, we acquire and exit brands on Amazon FBA, but we always want them to have omni-channel. Now, we always want them to have some other percentage of revenues from another market channel, not just Amazon, because of the demand capture and aspect of creation and demand awareness that can occur on that social media side, that can occur on the DTC side, that can occur in places like TikTok Shop and stuff. And then seeing up to 30% of it spill back to Amazon, where the captured demand could be there if you're doing it correctly. If not, I've seen just recently someone did very good on a video that went viral on TikTok Shop for their product and their brand, but the spillover actually affected another brand on Amazon, and they stocked out because so many sales came in so fast they couldn't keep up with demand. It wasn't even their video, it was a competition video that went off on another channel, and they got to capture that demand on Amazon and basically blew out their inventory. So there's a lot of that cause and effect occurring, but yeah, we are in each component of that phase: growth, optimization, scale, and exit. And
yeah, interesting. What's the motivation for the omnichannel and diversifying then? Is it a margin thing? I know Amazon likes to squeeze its partners, I guess,
they're doing
lightly, or is it like a survival kind of thing? Just stuff changes so fast, we need multiple channels and avenues.
Well, I mean, business is nothing but a series of problem-solving activities every day anyways. So whether you're on the DTC world trying to solve it through ad acquisition, meta ads, CPM rising cost, attribution issues, iPhone, iOS updates in the past, the newest ones that are affecting people, the outcome is there's some challenge in every business line. You just may have a better aptitude at the marketing, social media, and paid traffic angle, where others may have it more on the demand capture, SEO side of Amazon and logistics and operational controls, which is what more of that platform is about today. Which is where a lot of people, I think, missed that mark. And so when you hear a lot of screaming about Amazon today, it's typically those lower price, lower retail sellers that are screaming about Amazon's changes in fees, Whereas since we've been playing in the 50 to 200 plus in retail price point, the fees have actually gone down and the market share is going up. So we're going the other direction with the way we've played with brands. We started out on the low end, and over 10 years, we've now moved into the higher end products, higher end affinity brands, and are seeing more positive outcome from that. But again, it's a series of problem solvings over there because you're on a platform, like any platform. People will, Amazon is in control of all your platform. Well, try running Facebook ads and see what happens when they shut down your account, right? Go over to Google and see what happens when you get banned. Go to Shopify when they ban your channel too, because they can do that too. And go to Etsy, go to any platform, so at the end of the day, we need to just look at all of them as tools, and some people like certain tools versus others. Some want Makita, some want DeWalt, some want Amazon, some want Shopify. But in this day and age, you need to understand a tool is a tool and you can use it to your benefit. Then you should take every opportunity around the channel to use it, especially if you're building e-commerce companies with the end in mind, which is where I get down to the core component of what Voltage really loves to do, and that is look at acquiring companies for our PE groups and building a portfolio of assets that Voltage runs in an omni-channel situation that allows for growth through different changes in the market, inflation, stagflation, et cetera, don't get affected as much when you have more channels of operation.
Yeah, I got it. So let's break this down from a getting started standpoint. If I'm taking an average Shopify store owner, and this is something that we see a lot with our customers, users, people that we interact with, right? So they install our app and they're relatively new. They've done a lot of work to get things up and running. There's a store, there's a product, they're shipping, they're live, they're in the US and Canada, and they've got maybe some traffic coming to the store, and now they're scratching their head saying, man, what do I do? I've invested a lot to get to this point. And I think that's the point in which they realize, and I've got a lot farther to go, even to get that single channel going, if they're just looking at their Shopify type of empire there, right? Or what they're hoping to build. So how do you break things down in terms of that order of priority? Be like, hey, here's what we got to do next. Here's what we got to do next. You put it well, I think, in terms of problem solving. But of course, then limited resources, right? So what do you solve first?
Well, I mean, limitation of resources is always just risk, because it's technically not limited. It's limited by your risk. Could you go out and get a large capital line to run? Absolutely. You just have risk in not knowing how to apply it correctly or use it correctly, so therefore is your risk. So really, when people say they have capital limitations, it's actually risk limitations in what they do, right? Would you agree? Because at this point, if I don't know where to put it, then I'm going to spend it and blow it and I won't see it recouped.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, that is a good point, because it's a different, and then it's a different game you're playing, right?
And then it's a different game, right?
So then I got to hit these milestones.
Where you risk it. If you're already down the line of building a DTC brand and you're up to that point and you've done your optimizations, and obviously you think you can get your add to cart, above 3-7%, and you can get down to, click-through rates and get everything kind of optimized, which is a big component of mechanics on the side of the DTC world, unless you have someone who can COP that, optimize that for you and really get that dialed in. But the other aspect of course, is you need to be smart at marketing, and you've got to have an understanding of media buying and algorithmic traffic, or you simply will just blow money on algorithms who really just want to take your money because it's their profit center. Same thing on Amazon, right? Amazon's PPC side is the same deal. They're becoming an advertising juggernaut. They're going to surpass their AWS profits as a business with advertising by 2026.
Oh, is that right? I didn't realize that. So these are in platform ads on Amazon, then pay-per-click.
So yeah, while Amazon has become demand capture when it was originally demand exposure, it is now demand capture of anything that spills over from a comfortable zone, because it's the 6th largest logistics company. Everybody expects it, and they are moving to one-day shipping. So as as a mechanism of deployment, that's hard to beat. So you have to kind of look at, how do I take advantage of that? If I'm running Meta and TikTok Shop traffic over here and I'm getting acquisitions, even at higher cost, I need to be able to look back to Amazon and say, do I have anything that's capturing the spillover? Because that's most likely where it's going. Recent studies show that 30% of traffic on television ads that come off of a physical product ad are actually ending up on Amazon, even if they don't say, go to Amazon for this product. I start on Amazon FBA first and have for many, many years. And while I've done DTC, I always like the aspect of proving that I can capture demand in the market with Amazon first. And then when I do outside marketing, I know that demand is going to capture backwards. If I don't, the causality is somebody goes off a viral 2 million TikTok video views over here, and I may not capture that traffic back over here. It may spill to somebody else's brand, and I want it to spill to mine. So if I'm going to go out in the DTC world, I want to make sure someone knows how to get back to me. And that really becomes Amazon. It is kind of a known go-to, low barrier, lots of money being spent, $1,000 per person per year on Prime memberships. That's a great place to capture that demand. creating demand and having the audience, conversation and creating that audience conversation really does take marketing skills. And marketing is just an activity of sales. And so many people get caught up in that activity and forget about the revenue aspect of it, like actually producing revenue, meaning they're not willing to spend enough to figure out what it takes for them to actually acquire a customer. Okay. Once you acquire that customer and you have, say, a $39 product, maybe hypothetically, or a $25 product, but it takes you $49 to acquire that customer, you've solved one major problem, right? You may think, well, Neil, that's stupid. I'm now $20 upside down in acquiring that customer that for a $39 product or whatever, and I had to spend $59 to get it. I'm $20 upside down. You need to make that up in back-end sales. This is where you actually have won on one game and lost on another. You need to be able to sell them a second product, a third product, a subscription. You need to get them through text messages and SMS systems and direct mail. You need to go down deep in the follow-up in the bottom of the funnel stuff. It isn't that you pay $20 more to acquire that customer. It's that you actually acquire the customer. Kudos. And I think people are not willing to go out and see what it takes for them to actually acquire a customer first to then learn how to monetize that backwards into their systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great insight. And that's, I think, how the big players, shall we say, operate, right? And kind of always have, right? Walmart didn't give away the DVDs up front because
you're buying, right? You got to buy the market share.
Get them in the store, right?
You got to buy the market share and then find additional products. That's why there's 250,000 SKUs, of which only like 8% make their 460 something billion a year.
Oh, interesting. Is that low? Huh?
It's very low on the overarching amount of products they actually make the majority of their profit on. And that 80 sort of 20 rule, if you will, flows through e-commerce companies too, which is why our 5x5 plan is to get 5 products in the marketplace to prove which is the 80-20. So that we can take that and turn it into 10 and 15 SKUs. At that point, we have
5 per company is your goal?
What 5x5 is our playbook, which means we're going to launch at least 5 products in the market. It's a law of averages, right? You don't invest a lot into just one product. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that sounds great, and at some point you will, but right up front, you don't know what your market, your seller account, Amazon, DTC, TikTok, or whatever is really going to bear ultimately. You see someone else doing it, so you think I can just immediately replicate it, but that's a logical fallacy in this argument. You can't just duplicate it. What you can do is say, how can I capture that market share in my account, my price point, my brand, and in my ads, and in my space? And then not really worry about them for the moment, just start acquiring share, just start getting in there. And I think a lot of people miss that point when they go to market. I'm, now aware that I need to spend 30, 60, 90 days acquiring market share before I start making profit. If you can't do that, then who is ultimately going to win? So it means you actually have to understand what it takes to bear the market. You can go test this on your own. It may take you 85 days or 65 or 125. The point is it's going to take whatever time it's going to take for you to acquire that market share and then prove that you're going to do it. That's why in the real world of e-commerce, it's not really a side hustle or a hobby business. Not ultimately. It can't be. Because now you have to be willing to take certain risk to grow the business. Once things start to work, you've got to capitalize it. It is the same risk on any other channel that most people fall into. Drop shipping does not work the same way it used to anymore. It won't fly on TikTok Shop anymore, right? They're getting to the FBT platform side of it now. Shopify tried to do that, but they discovered they're failing at it miserably. And then in their last stock update, they're down 20% because most of the people who are trying to get in and use Shopify for that quick side hustle thing aren't making more than $1,000 and are bailing out, and they're bailing out really fast.
Yeah, I was impressed that they managed to scale to the size that they did with a lot of so many side hustles, right?
So many side hustles, so many drop ships, so many of all those things. But like any sort of longevity and any sort of bell curve of growth and adoption, there has to be some stabilization to the platform for the people who are on it, or it will start to decline. If the people who are on it are just paying monthly fees and making no money, it's going to decline. And there are other places in the market, in the industry, that's occurring right now, where people are bailing out of those, platforms, those funnel platforms, because they simply aren't able to make it work. They're just paying monthly fees. And so you got to get in front of that. Sales fixes everything is the mantra we keep saying around here. Sales fixes everything, right? And so first you got to get to the sales. By whatever means possible, even if it's not profitable on the first acquisition, you've got to get the sales. From there, then you got to work the numbers. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that. And you mentioned affiliates at one point, or influencers, right?
So, I love to talk affiliates, influencers, and even with regards to your initial portfolio. So I totally agree, right? You gotta acquire customers, and then you worry about making money later. But you better figure out how to get a customer, right? And then what it costs. And so, what's your initial Neil kit of, hey, this is what we're going to start with. We are going to start, we're going to do some AdWords, we're going to do Facebook ads, we're going to do affiliates, influencers. What's your starter kit from
So my starter kit is Amazon first. It is. And I know that's going to not ring well with a lot of people's ears, right? The reason is because I don't have to split test the funnel. All I have to do really, because the funnel of Amazon's FBA or fulfilled by Amazon is really done for you. So in that case, all I have to do is make sure I get the product in there and let their logistics, inventory, and split tested $1 trillion funnel do its thing. What I need to do is be very good at the marketing side, the language side, the copy side, and the avatar aspect of developing that marketing profile for the person that I'm targeting, specifically in the solution they're trying to solve, which is less, going for that higher price solution, less reviews, more specifics, pain points, etc. And then get in front of them and determine how much I can sell and what they're willing to buy from me. And I can do that on demand traffic, right? Amazon is running 8,600 units a minute. So it's very easy to really determine quickly through organic and PPC marketing on Amazon, did I hit the metrics right? Even before the product is sold. Kind of like drop shipping. But I have to get the inventory, and a lot of people don't like that. But that's also an asset. If you think about it from a business perspective, putting money into inventory is an asset. I'm not putting it into a digital thing. I'm putting it into a physical inventory. It's tangible, can be taxed differently and managed differently in taxes, and you're taking cash out of one place and turning it into physical goods. So there are those business benefits. I know people who argue, well, you have to do inventory. And I'm like, well, there are other benefits to the inventory from a business perspective. Yeah, you'd love to drop ship everything. I get it. But again, unless you can differentiate the product, control the product, trademark the product, and even utility patent the product, you have not a business. You've got a side hustle. You've got flipping product for somebody else. And for us, it has to create intrinsic value, which means we have to own the process all the way through to the end so that the business becomes a saleable asset, right? So we control all that. So the affiliate side or influencer components, those are just traffic channels that also have a cost. You may think, well, I gave the free sample away. No, the sample had a cost. I gave away 100 samples. Well, you gave away 100 products at 100 units of inventory. That had a cost to it. So that's like buying traffic, really, at the end of the day. And the differentiator, of course, is where you do that and how you do it and how you can track it. I've used join brands and stuff in the past to track it. I have problems with that because I'd give away so many units and only get so much video back. And then find out that some of those people are just manipulating their likes and user counts. And so my traffic buys were terrible because I'd give them in a product and they'd go out and then it's like, well, there's no clicks, there's no comments, there's no traffic. Like, you liar. Like, you just stole that product from me. So that's a challenge on Amazon side of the house too, because we have much more complicated terms of service. So there are ways to go in and take the organic side of Amazon and the PPC side and give it the validation for the market we need before we go out and say, okay, this price point, this product, this mechanism, now we want to get affiliates or influencers. We found it much easier, much faster to go to TikTok shops because of the influencer component and all the data they give us. The influencer can't hide. Like, we know they made that gross volume. We know they're increasing. We know their user count's going up. We know their market share is here, and we know that 85% of them target, our particular niche because it's literally set up inside of there. And so I know also that when I give away 100 units, I'm going to get 100 videos back. Like, it's a cross because they don't want to get their account dinged. So there are variables of value there, and with signed agreements can take that video and then put it back on Amazon and Facebook, etc., and it will do really well. So once it's validated on TikTok and generates sales, it becomes an asset that I can turn around and go the other way with. And turn it into Amazon sponsored ads and go out and run it on Facebook Meta, right? So then I can take that asset and move it different directions and opening different channels. And I've also discovered that in my experience and the people that are working with us and even clients that I've interviewed or people that have come on my podcast, there's the larger amount of spillover, that halo effect is occurring. They actually go back to Amazon from TikTok Shop. I know nobody wants to hear that, and I'm not trying to take anything from this, especially those who are listening, but you need to understand to follow the people. You might have to pivot. If you create demand capture on DTC for your Facebook and your ads in Google onto your Shopify, you need to be able to track where they went after that. Did they go to TikTok or Amazon? Because that's going to be probably the two places they end up. And if you can track that, you can measure it. That's really the important output here, right? Not to favor one channel over another, but to your point, I do start on FBA because I want to find out where the capture is. I want to find out where the demand is. Yeah,
interesting. How long has TikTok had that going with the TikTok shops and to your liking, I guess, in terms of the analytics and reporting?
Yeah, well, like or dislike, because when they rolled out the TikTok shop platform in about October, November 2023, not too long ago, they basically, in my case, they went back and retroactively canceled all my Amazon ads to shut down my TikTok shop, which was talking about Amazon. And so they right before they rolled it out, they did this whole thing, and I wasn't the only one as affected. They killed what are called brand referral links that track off Amazon sales backwards and actually give us a commission. 10% commission of all sales off social media backwards to Amazon. So instead of paying like a 15% referral fee, we only pay a 5% referral fee, which is cool. Except they killed those. And then they torched my account and a bunch of other people's too, right as they rolled it out. Now they're kind of laxed on that now, and so you can kind of start using some of that again now that it's out. But that's just since 2023. But you can see a lot of the mass and viral traffic that's occurring, and just the speed at which those shops are moving units and growing is astronomically fast because of the way that social media channel, that social platform is really moving extremely fast. So then we find them spilling over to Amazon to buy products, right? Get a lift over here, get over there. One of our clients, Tammy, she has a product that's done about 50 units a day on Amazon. It's been on there for like 10 years. It just keeps chugging along. She has other products, but this one in particular, it got featured on a video on TikTok Shop. Suddenly she's selling out before noon. Her product is 10xing on Amazon, and they're over on Amazon buying it now because it's sold out on TikTok Shop. And then she's got it stabilized, so she's making about 50, 100 unit sales a day on TikTok, and she's raised up to about 25, 30 sales additional a day on Amazon. So everything just went and has continued to stay there.
That's awesome. So, and when they're going over to Amazon,
Yeah.
these are people who obviously with TikTok shops, they can just buy directly from there.
Correct.
So they are, and when you talked about spillover earlier, they're actually going to Amazon and typing in the
They're
brand name. and
typing in the
products coming
keyword
up.
or the brand name specifically. Yeah. So keyword searches on TikTok are becoming extremely viable, right? Because if you type your brand name in on TikTok and you're not there, someone else is looking for you. And if you discover that someone's on there, pro tip, and you don't see a particular job they're doing on TikTok Shop, that may be your opportunity to bring a product in there and take advantage of that because the search
interesting.
is already there.
Yeah, that's great. That's a
Yeah.
great tip.
Cross
Cool.
those
This has
up.
been awesome, Neil. Love the discussion here. So for our brands who could use your help in terms of setting up Amazon presence, getting their marketing going, how can they find you? How can they work with Voltage?
Yeah, voltagedm.com. You can go check it out, voltagedigitalmarketingdm.com. We're Amazon-centric, although we do omni-channel, and our goal is basically to help new sellers or existing sellers reach up another 100K in net profits during a 12-month engagement with us. Put a little skin in the game on that to get the incentive in place as part of a consulting and incentive package that we do. So we put some skin. We have like one offer. I don't make this extremely complicated, and I can only help those who are willing to help themselves. Really, at the end of the day, I don't have a sales team, and this is not a large quota. I usually see 3 to 5 to 7 people a month come in that qualify for what we're doing at the pace we want to go in the stage we want to go. So we're not a mass marketing course, that kind of nonsense. We're a management consultancy, just to be very clear. And so, yeah, if anybody's interested in looking how to level up or if wanting to get in the game a little bit stronger, we're usually moving brands pretty fast in the first 12 months. And helping them solve the problems of business and overcoming opportunities and frankly getting them into a sellable state, because the last piece of what's in it for us is that we like to grow these businesses up, and then we have what's called a first rights of refusal. Should they want to be sold, that they come to us first and give us an opportunity to either buy or broker it.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned you've got a network also of PE firms that you're working with. So are they? You're either doing the acquisition yourself or you're brokering with these?
Yeah, through our PE groups, which then we end up owning the operations of it.
Yeah, very cool. One-stop shop. Give us the podcast info too, please, Neil.
Yeah, High Voltage Business Builders Podcast. You can go on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, go to the voltagedm site, go over to the podcasts, interviewing guests of all different types, shapes, sizes, about 60% e-commerce, 40% business. The business side can be anything from real estate to vending machines to mindset to building wealth without Wall Street. And then 60% is roughly in the e-com space between Amazon, DTC, TikTok shops, and anything around e-com.
Very cool. It's been an awesome conversation. Neil Twab with Voltage Holdings. Neil, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Brett.